And I'm going to start off with a did you know question. External marketing provides the single lowest return of any marketing investment in existence, and the numbers aren't even close. However, what's astonishing is the fact that it remains the number one most invested in form of marketing by healthcare practices. And it's amazing that no matter what stats you show, healthcare practices still believe that they need pay-per-click and billboards and radio and postcards and all of these things, when in fact, what you need to do is be right internally. And if you're right internally, the beauty of that is not only is it recession-proof, is it keeps you from ever having to spend $1 on marketing at all, and you'll still outgrow your competition. But you've got to be right internally, which is the phones is an internal example that we're going to be working on today. Now, why is external marketing produce such a low result? It doesn't mean that you can't get results from it, but it's still lower than any other form of marketing that you can do. And the reason being is one of the reasons, is did you know that statistics prove that even the most successful practices, if you're a practice that's killing it out there, you're rocking and rolling, I hate to tell you, all that means is you have numerous lost opportunities that can be corrected and you'll grow 30% in a year. Because these statistics prove that even the most successful practices have at least 3 new patient opportunities lost every single month because the telephones are not answered properly. And what does that mean from a number standpoint? It means that you lose $198,000 a year, which is almost unbelievable in certain terms. $198,000 a year with the example I have on the screen, simply by not having the phones the way they're supposed to be. And I hate to tell you, we're going to talk about this. You getting your staff trained at someone else's facility or having somebody come in there for a short amount of time, that is not training. And another reason why the outdated consultant model does not work. Human beings need ongoing training to work. Just like anything, your clinical skills, you get ongoing training. Anything requires ongoing practice. And that is why external marketing produces such a low result. And by the way, if you own multiple practices, guess what? Take that $198,000 example and multiply it by every practice you have. That's how much money you're losing just on the phones alone. Now, why? Let's get into common mistakes made, okay? And the first one is spending money on marketing without. And I'm going to let you fill in the blanks here. I'm going to give you just a second, and you should have learned something from that previous slide. So fill in the blanks, and it's spending money without ongoing phone training. And that ongoing word is so important. Human beings do not change habits. Flying to someone's facility for a week, paying them a bunch of money, and then all of a sudden think that you're going to be good on the phones. It does not work that way. If it did, we would all take math class for a week and then no math. You would learn how to put in a crown or straighten teeth in a week, and then you would never need ongoing training. Ongoing training is the key for anything, for any position in your practice. But for phones, it is imperative that the training never ends. It's so imperative that you get the ongoing training to not only get better, but to remain great once you're great. The next one is not having flowcharts by every phone in your practice. Guaranteed loss of money if you don't have some kind of method by your phone. Not a script, a flowchart. Remember what we talked about earlier. A script does not help people because robots do not grow businesses. A philosophy does. And then your team trained on that philosophy and understand the philosophy to be able to articulate it to your clientele base, in this case, patients, which is why a flowchart is what needs to happen, not a script. Now, quoting fees over the phone or telling patients you do not quote fees over the phone. Either way is a guaranteed way to lose, and here's why. If you quote fees over the phone, the only patients you're going to get in are consumers that only care about price. So if you're a specialty practice, sure, if you want to run a business that way, that's fine. But you're always going to have to be cheaper. And the more competition means that it's harder to be cheaper because there's somebody else that's always going to be lower than you. If you're a GP practice, good luck running a business based on price because you're going to get people come in your front door and you're going to get them walk right out the back door the second someone else is cheaper. Quoting fees over the phone, you lose every time. The other one, telling patients you do not quote fees over the phone. You can always tell when a doctor has told their team members we don't quote fees because that's what the team member says over the phone. And that's about 99% of the calls. Either the quoting fees happen or we don't quote fees over the phone. Sorry, Mr. Patient, that happens. The thing is, if you don't quote fees, we agree with that. But then there has to be high-level training on what to say when you don't quote the fees, because you can't tell the patient, we don't quote fees over the phone, we need to see you. That's what everybody does, but you can't say that because now you've frustrated them because you're not answering their question. So there's a way to say that you don't do it without saying you don't do it, which brings us into common mistake number 4 is utilizing negative verbiage. Can'ts, don'ts, won'ts. Those don't work, okay? There's a way to say those, but put a positive spin on it because those lessen your customer service immediately by using them, and it also frustrates consumers. The next common mistake, placing new patients on hold. This is a simple one. Implement it today. Under no circumstances does a new patient get placed on hold. So you can't answer your phone. New patient group, this is Brian, please hold. You can't do that because I never gave myself a chance to identify if that's a new patient or not. You've got to at least go that far. And then if it's a current patient, you can put them on hold. You have a relationship with them. You can always come back to them. They'll be okay. The new patient, under no circumstances can you place them on hold. You should implement that immediately into your practice and ensure it's followed. The next one, scheduling inefficiencies. This is a 5-hour webinar in itself. So just something brief, and this goes for other things other than what I'm about to say, so don't misunderstand. This one I'm just going to speak to specialties out there for a second. If you are participating and you get the Invisalign concierge calls and they patch through, I don't care how busy you are, and I don't care if there's not one iota of a second on your schedule. You need to schedule the patient in 3 days or under and just figure it out. Figure it out because you're going to lose the patient if you don't. There's other examples, many other scheduling inefficiencies, but just for time purposes, you Invisalign concierge practices out there, 3 days or under rule, implement it immediately and you're going to grow your business because that's free business. Align Technology is sending you. You need to capture it in 3 days or under. The next mistake, lack of expertise and excitement. Guys, your people answering your phones are your frontline first impression. And it amazes us the lack of expertise a lot of them have about your business. You have got to role play and you have got to ensure that the people answering your phone know everything about your operation because they have to portray confidence and expertise over the phone. And they have to have the knowledge that no matter what the consumer places them in, no matter what position that consumer places them in, they've got to have the expertise to be able to respond back confidently, to be able to ensure you convert the consumers that are calling your practice into new patients. They've got to have the expertise. So if you've never tested them, if you've never role played with them, it is a guaranteed way to lose business. They've got to have the expertise about everything to do with your practice. The next one's excitement. And that goes back, we've talked about it before. You can't be blah on the phone. You just can't. Every word out of your mouth has got to get the consumer excited to come see you. The more competition grows, it is so important because if they call you and you're the third practice they've called, you're in a position of success because you should easily be able to be better than the other ones because the healthcare calls, they don't go well, guys. So with this training, it's going to ensure that you win every time, okay? You've got to be excited. It's a big part of the training we do, and it's also a big mistake that practices continually make because their people are not excited. The next one, morning, lunch, and evening. What does that have to do with? You should be answering the phones at that time all the time, okay? No excuses. Think about it. Consumers, the 3 most frequent times that they call. Early morning on the way to work. Practice is usually closed at that time. Lunchtime. Many times the practice is closed and an answering service answers. Well, they're not going to schedule them. And a new patient's not going to leave a message with them either. The next one is late evening when they're driving home from work or even 30 minutes after that. And if you have somebody and you pay extra for somebody to be at your practice during those times I just mentioned, you will grow. Because right now you are getting calls and they aren't being answered. The problem is you don't know. Because again, it goes back to not being able to put your finger on lost opportunities. And remember, back to the highest level CEOs. The highest level CEOs fix lost opportunities first because it always provides a bigger return on investment than any other form of marketing you can do. How do I fix lost opportunities? That is what you've got to do as a high-level CEO first before anything else takes place. And I appreciate you attending today. It means a lot to us to be able to give out this knowledge and help as many people as we possibly can. And we'd love to work with you on as many avenues that can help your practice is possible. You can reach out at npg@newpatientgroup.com or call that 800 number on your screen, 800-278-9648. Learn more about us by going to newpatientgroup.com. We're looking forward to working with your practice and helping you as many ways possible. Thanks for joining today and enjoyed every minute of it. You guys have a great day. We'll talk to you soon.